What's up, everybody? L.A.R. movement still moving. Um, you can tell by the title, we enable bad apples. We have this term, one bad apple spoils the bunch. But we act as though they're just this minority of bad apples that people just get rid of. What's going on, entanglement? But the truth of the matter is, in American culture, we enable bad apples. Justin was good. Mr. Ibmore was good. This is what we do in this country. This is what this country is about. Hustle. What's going on? Yeah, I'm just starting. I probably gonna be on here maybe 30, 45 minutes, but this is what we do. The history of this country is a bunch of bad apples doing something for money, saying that they, or whether or freedom, you know. So the norm in society is bad apples. You can change this a different way. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, which means the person who makes the most noise gets the help. In some ways, that's the bad apple. Oh, don't you start that hustle. Could be. Paul, what's happening? But if you make the most noise, people are going to pay attention to you. If you're the bad kid, people are going to have to deal with you. We don't just exile somebody for being obnoxious or over the top or exhibiting bad behavior. What do? We constantly engage with them. So we enable the behavior because they keep getting attention. They don't get discipline, they get attention. Didrik, what's happening? That's what we give people, attention. What's up, imperfection? So since we're going to give everybody attention, let's just admit that everything, like I say, the majority of things that we say are good in society come from bad apples that we enable. We'll say somebody is a good businessman because we let them do some shady stuff and they wind up with the most money at the end. So you enable other people to set people up to do shady stuff. Mr. Griffith, what's happening? Faith, how you doing? To do shady stuff so they can get ahead. When I say we enable bad apples, if you go to school, people used to put more emphasis on being cool than they did being smart. So the kids in the school got on you if you weren't cool. And they got on you if you were smart. But that's a childish thing. What about the teachers who were bad apples? They weren't able to keep teaching you terribly. They weren't able to make sure, this person, I'm going to make them feel smart, and this person, I'm going to make them feel dumb. Forget that this is the same information for everybody, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bias on teaching, educational material. So you enable the bad apples. Principals, they get enabled. Superintendents, get enabled. And you wonder why certain schools have everything or a lot of stuff, and certain schools have a small amount of things. Is because you got bad apples in the school system who are enabled to continue to be bad apples and turn out bad members of society, because what they're teaching is corruption. Legit time, what's happening? So this is what we playing with. We enable bad apples. Forget the people who you send to prison, or who are criminals. What about all the people who aren't criminals, who didn't break, quote unquote, the law, or didn't get caught breaking the law, but they're immoral and unethical human beings? But we enable them by giving them a pass. We enable bad apples, under the guise of that's who they are. That's how those type of people act. You have to accept that behavior because that's the behavior that they're accustomed to. They came from an environment that caused them to act like this, so they act like this everywhere. So we enable bad apples. Some of us enable bad apples because it's entertaining. Entertaining. It's fun. It's salacious. It's a story. It's a train wreck waiting to happen. We enable bad apples because we can't wait to see this train hit this wall. So let me go ahead and get my popcorn ready and enjoy this show. Not to mention how we look at media. We enable bad apples, because I was watching something yesterday, and I keep laughing and joking about this, but it spills into the concept of criminality in America. When I can keep watching television shows and movies of people just killing people, throwing people out of buildings, burning people alive, chopping people's head off, getting massive shootouts, and then they just hop in the car and drive off, and the police come after us all over. We enable, certain types of people to say, oh yeah, I could get away with that because I see it in the movies all the time. How you doing, honey? Justin, what's going on? So people do things all the time. We enable bad apples because even with this racial divide in the country, we enable bad apples by excusing bad behavior on all racial sides. Gangsta, how you doing? I feel you on that hustle. But we if you look, when I say we enable bad apples, when people do the black on black, what about black on black crime thing? Lowland, how you doing? Or they used to do it. Part of what I thought was, oh, okay, black bad behavior is zero tolerance, but non-black bad behavior would stop if black people stop doing what you feel like we're doing that's negative. So basically, everybody else can be a criminal, can be a liar, can be a thief, can be a racist, can be flat out devilish and evil. But until you people get it together, that doesn't matter. So what you're saying is you enable bad apples in other groups. And it's somebody else's responsibility to be good people so they can stop being bad people. Logically, that's asinine and it would not work. But it's an asinine ideology. We enable bad apples in our own community by trying to imitate Italian criminal culture. Oh, it's gangster. He a gangster. It's gangster. Oh, the way he did that was gangster. Listen, gangsters are not good people. Never have been, never will be. So we enable bad apples by praising if we feel like something was quote unquote gangster. If somebody's a stand-up person, oh, that's not a big deal. But if you're a gangster, that's respectable. How you doing, George? Gene? Inky, what's going on? Oh no, more than the rich, are allowed to get away with crimes. There was a guy in Michigan who didn't want to wear a mask in a store, and a 77-year-old man asked him to put a mask on, and he stabbed him. This guy the cops pulled him over. He got out of the car. I guess there was a screwdriver or a knife, and he started charging the cops, and they shot him. The type of person, how you doing, Major? The type of person who went out in society to do that has been enabled his whole life to think that you can do no wrong. We enable bad apples by saying somebody got a drinking problem, somebody got a drug problem, somebody got a sex problem. That demon is controlling their actions. No. They got a problem that you don't want to crack them upside the head for, because you know them and you love them to the point that you won't do what's needed to be done by giving them a reality check. We enable bad apples. How you doing, John? I was looking at a talk about teachers in the upcoming school year. What's up, Tony? We enable bad apples when they're mothers. When they're parents, as a man, we enable bad apples who are quote unquote deadbeats by giving them excuses to be deadbeats. They're bad apples. We enable trifling mothers by excusing their behavior. Well, if the dad was this and the dad was that has nothing to do with them being trifling. They're out of line. We know when somebody's a liar. We know when somebody's a manipulator. We know when somebody is using somebody. But we enable that. Time, what's going on? Yeah, I laugh at the entertainment. Yes. I've enabled bad apples time. And you here trying to start an argument thinking that what? You are something morally higher when you were here trying to do a bitch move? But let me guess, you're the closest thing to Jesus by doing that whole shit. Anyway, and I hope if you're talking to me about that, if you was being joking, my bad. But I'm reading, I'm going somewhere. I'm dead. I'm serious as hell right now. So I don't even know if he was serious right now. So if you wasn't serious, I apologize. If you was serious, I meant every word. But we enable bad apples. I was looking at a police officer talk about they don't want bad apples in their department. And I'm thinking to myself, what? What happens to a bad apple in the police department? They get transferred to another police department. They get a job in another department in another city. So they don't get their rights stripped. That you can't do this job no more. See, doctors can get their license taken away. Lawyers can get disbarred. People can get fired. Soldiers can get court-martialed. We enable bad apples when we say, you know what? Let's just transfer you for killing that person. So now you got a murderer out there. Oh, let's just transfer you for beating that person up for no reason. So now you got somebody who assaults people just out on the streets. Same thing on the job. We enable bad apples. If you could be that coworker, or you could be that supervisor, or you could be the person watching. That coworker who's always hustling and scamming the system to get over, but they don't never do the work to get paid for what they're doing. What they do is get the hustle going to play this game. So they shifting, work on everybody else, but they getting paid for it. We enable that. Well, they moving slow. They got issues in their life. No, 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 no. No. What's going on, American Indian? I mean, American. I get it. I just never said it right. But this is where we at. This is where we at. You got people getting promotions because they know how to play the game. If you know how to play the game, normally means do something underhanded and BS worthy. Kind of like the bourgeoisie proletariat thing, where you're the middle management to keep the other folks in line. Oh yeah, Sloan, what's going on? This is where we at. We enable bad apples. And then people wonder why is society, why is the world going through this craziness? Why is it so crazy? Back in my day, it was like this and like that. Well, that's very easy to answer, because all of the bad apples that we liked and we kicked it with and we hung out with and we played games with, and we said, you know what? I know they messed up, but something about them that's still good in them. They got a good heart. They try their best, but their negative far outweighs their positive. And what I mean by that negative far outweighs their positive, what they commit to negatively and will go to negatively, they would not commit to the same degree to something positive. They would not. DC, how you doing? We enable these bad apples. If you got kids, you got a good kid, you got a bad kid. What you doing in your families? If you was the good kid or the bad kid, you know how this goes. You know exactly how it goes. The good kid, they gonna be all right. The bad kid, we're gonna have to rally around and come together and be a support system for this kid, because this is gonna be a rough ride. Okay, so you left the quote unquote good kid just to fend for themselves because they wasn't bad enough, because you enable the bad apple. How's the guy? What's going on? Oh, we don't. Yeah, Faye, but we don't even have to admire him. Our society is built on enabling bad apples. You don't have to be a good human being. Rolex, what's happening? You don't, the most influential, some of the most influential people in our community were people who got murdered by people. And the people who murdered them are in some regards, looked at as more heroic than the people who got murdered. Even our martyrs don't get real due respect. When people say, I respect the shooter, we enable bad apples because we respect the shooters in American history. It's funny, but that's how it goes. That's how it continues to go. So much so to the point that people have decided, you know what? I'm going to be ratchet, was the old word, savage or whatever. Let me be cutthroat. Let me be cunning. Why? Because there's a whole support system for bad apples. A whole support system. And like I said, I'm not really talking about the people who did crimes and got locked up. I'm talking about the people who didn't commit crimes or didn't get caught committing crimes, who didn't get locked up, who just happened to do BS all the time. People who like calling, starting drama, gossiping, creating confusion. They always got something going on in their life. We enable those people because we don't leave them alone. We don't just say, I'm done with you. We don't do that. And let me rewind this a little bit. We enable bad apples because they got kids. And we attach to their kids. We love their kids. Their kids shouldn't have to be in that situation. I need to be a safe haven for that kid. For those children. I'm not going to make this adult be an adult. Xavier, thanks, fam. I'm not going to make this kid be an adult, this adult be an adult. I'm just going to move on to the next one. But I have to deal with this person to reach out to that kid. So I do have to somehow capitulate to this person because they're a parent. Because I'm trying to be the bigger person. We enable bad apples by being the bigger person. Sometimes these bad apples need to get exactly what they've been given out into the world. I shouldn't say sometimes, all the time. Because we enable bad apples by not doing to them as they do to everybody else. The Bible tells you you shall reap what you sow, but we play around, only God can judge me. Bad apples say, only God could judge me. Brother, prophet, thanks, Brother X. Only bad apples say only God could judge me. Because if you dish it out, you better be willing to take it. Or better, you know what? I said it wrong. If you dish it out, you better be able to give it back to them. Be ready to give it back to them. Because they're not going to stop until somebody gives them exactly what they've been given out. This is how we enable bad apples. We enable people to be bullies. Because, you think they're bigger than somebody. They're in a position. They're using their position of power to reign over you because you could beat them, but can you beat their position? So we're basically saying we're getting people the good understanding that if they get in a good position, they could throw you under the bus. And you got to hope there's a good person watching alongside in that position that'll stop it. You got to hope it's a balancing act. There's checks and balances and power structures where the good apples are fighting the bad apples to make sure everything's right. Well, it don't work like that. We enable bad apples when you live in a society where people consider the people is involved in the government, whether that be executive, judicial, you know. I'm bugging. You know, the representatives, you know, the checks and balances of American government, the legislative, judicial, executive branches can be bought and leveraged, or they can, or corporations can leverage, you know, money on politicians to get things done for them so they can make more money. Why we turn around and say, you know, it's the corporations, you know, it's these big, powerful businesses, you know, it's the rich people who are holding people back. Oh, no, actually, it's not. It's the quote unquote good apples that are in all of your offices that are the problem. They're the ones caving, prostituting themselves for a dollar. The same way we say, you know, you black people shouldn't be selling drugs to each other. You know, so what? The people gave you drugs. You know, you shouldn't sell them though. Oh, okay, you're right. We shouldn't sell them. Should you be bringing them? Major, thanks, fam. Should you be bringing them? No, but that's okay because if you can make money for bringing them, you know, you didn't sell them. Tony, thanks, fam. Also using a position of pity, absolutely. Thank you, Tony. And thanks, Major. Hold up. Thank you, and thank you, Brother X. This is where we at. This is where we at in society. This is how we live. I just happened to be on my phone, and they was talking about, and I was looking at a news story about who are the perceived most corrupt countries in the world. It went from perception to where they actually rank. And here's the interesting thing to me. Where are people in America in any position to say who's corrupt? Because I keep hearing this phrase, yes, we're Americans. Yes, this is the greatest country in the world, but yes, we have issues. If we have issues and we've had issues for hundreds of years, tens of generations then gone by, and we still have the same issues, it's because enabling bad apples is a part of the issue. Jamar, what's going on, fam? Enabling bad apples is a part of the. We pass down generationally bad apple scapegoats. This is one of the funniest things in the world that just keeps getting skipped over. Oh, somebody outside. Okay. Hold on for 1 second. Who the heck is that? This is part of America's biggest problem. That somehow, some way, okay. Somehow, some way, mothers and fathers and mothers give people justifications to continue to be a certain way. We enable bad apples through religion. Appreciate you. What's up, Dialed Up? We enable bad apples through religion. That's where, for me, this is where it started. Because God gonna forgive you. Everybody gonna go to heaven. Everybody gonna go to heaven as long as they say, I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. Are you kidding me? You really believe in a God that lets everybody in because they said a magical sentence that somebody wrote down hundreds of years, if not 1,000 years later, to make people feel good about their shenanigans? The Chim, how you doing, fam? We enable bad apples with that. Confess your sins, my son. For what? You gonna confess your sins, or you gonna do anything to change? Are you gonna rectify it? Are you gonna atone that? If you're not gonna do that, shut up. Mr. Punisher, what's going on? This is where we at. Let's enable all these bad apples in hopes that one day they gonna change. One day they gonna get it together. One day their heart is, they're gonna be like the Grinch. Their little cold heart is just gonna open up and love is gonna burst out, and they're gonna try to do their best to rectify all the wrongs done in their life. Nah. Mm-mm. Don't believe it. We enable bad apples by, saying we got time. You can fix it in time. Man, Roger, thanks, fam. Thank you, Roger. They're not good people. I still love that. Time. In time, you're going to figure it out. We enable bad apples using money. See, we don't want to say we have a culture where I'll buy you something to shut you up if you that annoying and out of pocket. I'll pay you to shut you up. I'll get you a gift to shut you up. I'll give you straight up cash in hand to shut you up. We do this to little kids. How many kids get rewarded for making an honor roll anymore? How many kids get rewarded? Okay, if you be good this week, I promise I'll get you that tablet. If you be good this week, if you don't get in trouble this week, I promise I'll get you a video game. We're paying people weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually to be good people. And they know it. You know what I'm gonna do? Okay, you're gonna if you don't pay me, I'm gonna cut up. If you don't pay me, I'm gonna act a fool. If you don't pay me, I'm gonna embarrass you in front of all these people. So we enable bad apples. I was talking about when I was talking yesterday about race. That's one of the funny things about that conversation. Normally, if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, it can incite. You can provoke a person or incite. You can provoke a fight or incite a riot by the things you say, even though you have freedom of speech. But we live in a society of semantics. And what I mean by that is you have to say the right thing if you're the wrong type of person for somebody to say you did the right thing when you're doing the right thing. See, you have to have the magical words and phrases to think out, oh, okay, I hit this person because they called me this racial slur. That's not good enough. Well, they incited an altercation with me by doing this, that, and the third, and then they pushed me and called me the N-word. And then from that point, I had to defend myself because they put their hands on me. You might have to even make that up. We enable bad apples. When you saw the black bird watching gay dude not want to press charges on the white lady for calling the police on him. Guess what that does? See, we keep talking about Karens, but we don't talk about all the people that enable Karen to be Karen, because they don't lock Karen up. They don't sue Karen. There's no civil suits against Karen. You know, be careful. Be careful. I'm going to be careful. Mayhem was had it. I'm going to be careful, Roger. See, there's no consequence for a bad apple. See, people think, oh yeah, people will go to jail. People will get a felony. Really? How many misdemeanors are people going to get? People are just starting to, quote unquote, lose their jobs because they're bad apples. Because now it takes for a person to get off of work to go on a wild tirade, whether they're sober or drunk, for a person to say, that's who they really are. You've been paying them all these years. You didn't know that? And see, don't get it twisted. These people are getting fired because they make the company look bad. I get it. But they're also getting fired for another reason. Because the company does not know how many business deals that person's mentality ruined for that company to make money. How many smart people or great ideas that could have made them hundreds of thousands or millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, because that person had a set mindset and it threw it in the face of this company. You know, it's a new term I just you know, this is where we at. We enable all of this stuff. We can't lie about it. We can't lie about it. We enable bad apples because, in a silly sense, we dance to the music of it. Oh yeah, it sound good because it sound good, it feel good, and I want to do that because it sound good and it feel good. I saw it in a movie and it felt good, and it inspired me. We enable bad apples because we're making inspirational material because bad apples are becoming successful. So we're thinking, you know what? I'm going to be a bad apple too. Why y'all thinking so many Cardi B's? Cardi B ain't the first. Huh? Girls wanted to be Lil' Kim. Then they wanted to be Foxy Brown. Then they wanted to be Trina. Yeah, like this is like, dude, we wanted to be, NWA. We wanted to be Cool G Rap. People thought, oh, LL Cool J is a lover. I don't want to be that. I want to be Jay-Z. He a trap star. I want to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like a T.I., he a trap star. You know, this not a bad apple. He rich. He did it the right way. Or for people who are non-black, we want to be Kennedys. Daddy is a trap god who got us out the hood and put us in politics. Yeah. That's the American dream. The American dream is to be a bad apple who came up and got rich. That's what we live in. That's our society. That's our world. Is it about hard work, dedication? Yes. But we put hard work and dedication on the back burner in the society because, you know, everybody want to make it. Why do I got to work hard? They didn't work hard. They just had a connection. They just had the right color. They just were born in the right neighborhood. Their parents had money. They just were able to get away with stuff I wasn't. Okay, this what we doing? No problem. No problem. We enable the bad apples. As a matter of fact, for some odd reason, you know, one of the reasons we enable bad apples is because we think they sexy. See, bad apples just look good. Oh, that rebellious thing looks sexy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just something about their rebel spirit. You know, them being able to lie, cheat, steal, or get over, or them having just the propensity to it, the ability to, the way they think outside of the box in their negative way to get ahead. It's a turn on. It just makes me horny. It arouses me. Okay. It's sexy to you. So sexy to you when it happened to you. Now you want to complain your whole doggone life about how people are no good. You lying through your teeth. We enable bad apples. But like I said, I'm gonna keep it short. You know, I know, I'm out of pocket some days. This might be one of them, but maybe wasn't the most positive thing to say on a Saturday. But that was what I was saying. So y'all take care. You know, I hope it was informational or whatever you want to call it. Art, what's up, fam? And I'm about to be out of here. As soon as this doggone in broadcast button actually comes up, thank you. Now it's here. I'm gone.